Should we start? So, morning everyone. This is Harish Chaturvedi, founder of HR Milestone, of HR Forum, which has started in somewhere 2010 with three objectives. First was networking of HR professionals, building capability building of HR professionals, and third is bridging the gap between industries and academia. With these three objectives, we started this forum, and it has grown now pan-India with presence on all social media. We have got members, around 5,200 members. We have our own app now for those who are committed HR professionals want to give back to the society, to the fraternity. Today we will be discussing about why people resist new ideas. Usually we find this very common that when we float new idea, people resist. Second, we will be talking about how to make our employees change fast and how to subconsciously align our employees to the organizational goal and values using NLP. We have with us Ms. Seema Shenoy Manek. She was the head of L&D and OD for the organization with 6,000 plus employees. She is international NLP master trainer, co-founder of Indian School of Success. She has trained around 40,000 plus in last 15 years. Over to Seema.
Thank you, Harish. Thank you so much. Welcome everybody for this talk on Applied NLP for Leadership. It's a pleasure to have all of you. I think you still have people who are going to be joining in soon. But let me begin with telling you all what you're going to be learning in the next 1.5 hours approximately. Like Mr. Harish said, I am Seema Shenoy Manek and I am the founder of Indian School of Success. I am a transformation coach, and our organizational predominantly works with trainers and coaches, helping them establish and become more powerful. And we also work with corporates and customize workshops for corporates so that they can use NLP to get better results as an organization or as teams. In the next 90 minutes, lesser than 90 minutes in fact, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be talking about, first of all, we'll understand what is NLP, because most people don't even know what this powerful science stands for. It's a brain science. I think that much most people know, that it's a science that helps you reprogram your subconscious mind. But beyond that, people really don't have an idea of what's NLP and the amazing applications of NLP in leadership and in organizational change management. If you notice, for most organizations, human resource is one of the biggest resources, right? And you can have all the funding, you can have all the resources, you can have all the machinery, all the technology, but if the human resources, that is your employees, aren't in alignment with the organization's values and goals, then no matter how many other resources you have, there is always a gap in how much your organization can achieve. So NLP has its application for individuals as well as for organizations, and we're going to be talking about both of them today. But predominantly the application in leadership. How can leaders use? You might be a leader of a small startup, or you might be a leader in a certain department or a function, or you might be a manager, or anyone who is dealing with people to be able to get better results for your organization. Please stick on till the end, because frankly I'm going to be taking you all and telling you all about some really deep-rooted distinctions on how, as a manager or a leader, what are the skills that you can develop, how to develop those skills, and how that's going to show you results in your work faster and easily, right? That's what everybody wants. All leaders want results. End of the day, all the efforts that we put in as leaders, it's to be able to see concrete results, whether it's in your ROI or it's in your employee engagement, or the scores need to improve, right? So that's what we are going to be talking about. We are also going to be going deeply into the psychology of resistance, right? I always say that human resources is not just resources, it's human beings. It's literally we're dealing with people here, and people are not as simple as machineries or software, which is more predictable, right? Any other resource is more predictable. You know that if you're going to be using a certain kind of a machinery or certain kind of a software, you will get certain results. But when it comes to people, sometimes, for example, you hire somebody thinking that that person is going to be perfect for a certain job, and you realize quickly down the line that this something not okay. That person is not able to meet the JD or is not giving you the results that you want, and you wonder why, right? That's because of the human factor in human resources. We all tend to forget that human resources is made of individual human beings, right? Even as a leader, you might notice a lot of times that you want to do so many things. You want to give results, you want to drive people, you want to motivate them, you want to be able to convince others, influence others easily, and you realize that you are not able to do that because something is stopping you from within, right? So this is another thing that we're going to discuss. What is the psychology of resistance? Why do people resist from within to change, to doing anything different? Why is change so difficult for people? And we're going to learn, understand how you can make people change subconsciously, and why it is a very good idea to help people change subconsciously. Also, you will learn as an organization how you can align your employees to your values, to your goals faster and easily, so that it can work like a well-oiled machine. Your organization can work at every level. It's going to get easier. So do stay till the end, because I'm going to be sharing that you will hear very, very rarely in any talks. I'm going to be talking all these things in the next till the end of this talk, right? I can see that a lot of people have already joined in, so I would like you to type in the comment section. Let's start interacting. I know this is a one-way live and you can't really talk to me, but you can type in things in the comment section. So for me to know that you're here and you're listening and you're committed to staying till the end and learning, please type in your name and the location from which you're joining from. Please type in your name and the location from which you're joining from. Even if you're watching this as a broadcast, even then do type in your name and the location from which you're joining from, so that I can start interacting with you all. Okay, let's see here. We have Jaideep, we have Priyanka. Hi Priyanka. Come on everybody, type in your name and where are you joining from, your location. Alright. Priyanka from Chandigarh. Welcome Priyanka. Okay, so first of all, let's get into understanding briefly what is neuro-linguistic programming. I'm not going to be going too much into details today because it's a comprehensive science, and I've had the experience of rolling out organization-wide NLP interventions with an intention of helping employees become more productive and resist any change that today with the mergers and acquisitions, so many changes in the market, there is a tremendous amount of resistance that leaders face from employees, and I've had experiences in how NLP can apply and work in that. But what is neuro-linguistic programming in the first place, right? So you can look as an employee or as a leader, you can look at NLP as a toolkit that helps you reprogram yourself, reprogram your own mind, or helps you influence others so that you can subconsciously change a person, right? It sounds very difficult if you, like, how can I change another person? But the reality is that most people actually change subconsciously. Most decisions that people make are subconscious decisions. I know you will say that no, my decisions are well thought out. I think about pros and cons and then I take decisions. But in reality, our brain is just like a computer, right? Why do I say that? Because in reality, the computer was designed after our brain. The way we function, a computer was made to function that way. Though our brain is far more powerful than a computer. But if you want to understand the human mind, but before you even understand the human mind, I think you got to think about why. Why should you even understand human beings, right? Why do you need to bother about the human factor of human resources? And The reason why one needs to think about people to get better results is because people mostly operate subconsciously. They are not operating at a conscious level. And I can tell you why I'm saying this, right? Like, if you had two jobs and you had to choose between the two, let us say, okay, one is looking very attractive, one is probably paying you a little higher, but the other job is making you feel very comfortable. When you went for an interview, they made you feel great. You feel that it's more, subconsciously somewhere you're liking the people over there. It's far, if a person is, let us say, money driven, somewhere subconsciously that's what they want money, right? They will take the first job. Let us say another person is subconsciously driven and wants acceptance or bonding or love. If that is that person's subconscious needs, they'll probably go for the second job where they felt more comfortable. So even though we think that we take decisions logically, you might sometimes wonder, what is wrong with this person in my team, right? I'm giving them all the resources, I'm telling them how to do things, they're still coming late, they're still not showing up in every situation, they're still lagging behind on their KRA, and there is no answer to why that person is behaving that way. And the reason is, we might think that people don't want to work, but let me ask you a question, okay? And you can answer in the comment section. That, have you ever gone to work and said that I don't want to work, I don't want to perform? Have you ever said that? No, right? Everybody who takes any role in an organization goes with an intention of performing. Everyone, no matter who it is. Nobody goes saying that I don't want to work, right? Most good employees want to perform. They want to give their best. But you will notice that they're not able to do that. And why not? Because of their subconscious patterns, because of their habits. Like, people have habits like not being able to get up in the morning. They have habits like getting late everywhere they go. They have habits like they get irritated. They have habits like they like to, gossip, or they like to have conflicts with others. It's not conscious choices. They don't want to be like this, but that's the way they are. They're stuck in their subconscious patterns. And when somebody is stuck in their subconscious patterns, it becomes very difficult for them to show creativity and resourcefulness and align with the organization's goals and consistently work to give you a result. So if you're going to be asking a person who is stuck with so many internal patterns to perform, it is like going against the tide. And type in yes if you agree with me, that you gotta first work on the person. Of course, you must be thinking now that, Seema, as a leader, I don't have the time to work on every employee. I have so many different goals and KRAs. I can't be sitting and looking at my employees' problems, right? I can't be working with every one of them. And totally agree, nobody has that kind of a time. That's exactly what we're talking about today. We're talking about how you can help your employees at large change subconsciously so that you don't have to do that work one-on-one, right? As a leader, you become the kind of person and you gain the kind of skills that you can help your employees change and align with the organization's goals at a subconscious level, so that everything starts getting easier and easier for you, right? So NLP is basically a science that looks at our brain like a computer, right? So in a computer or in any system, you have the hardware, you have the software, right? So imagine a computer that's outdated. Imagine a computer that is running on an old operating system, or a computer that's got certain bugs or viruses in it, or it's got obsolete drivers in it. And it's an outdated total system, and you're expecting it to give you great results. You want it to be fast, you want it to give you what you want all the softwares to run seamlessly. But it does not happen, isn't it? It doesn't always happen. A computer can, after a period of time, it slows down, it starts giving you problems, it starts gathering a lot of information, cache memory, and it just doesn't give you what you want. And what we forget as leaders is that human beings, and this software here, this is also exactly like a device, like a machine, which means that you and your employees, everybody is coming with certain pre-programmed software, right? Everyone's got a certain hardware, how much they can work, their stamina levels, what state they stay in. You know, some people are generally more energetic and want to go-getters, whereas some people are generally more laid back and they do not put in, their hardware is not designed to take a lot of hard work. Then the software element of it. We all come with cache memory, you know, experiences of the past, perceptions of the past. Like if somebody has had a bad experience in a previous organization where the boss took them for granted, or they were cheated in some way, or they were insulted in some way, or they were sold short by their manager, that person's going to come with their baggage. Just like a computer has its baggage, has faulty programming, human beings also come with the baggage of their background, their perceptions, their beliefs, their values, their habits, the way they live day in and day out, the way they look at the world, right? And when a computer has a problem, what do we usually do? What do we usually do when the computer has a problem? We fix it, right? We get very practical and we fix it. We just go ahead and see, okay, what's wrong with my computer? Okay, maybe it requires a new operating system. Maybe I need to download new drivers. Maybe I need to run an antivirus scan. Maybe I need to delete old data, cache memory. And the moment you do all these things, or if nothing else, you take it to a software engineer to get it fixed, right? A person who can fix your computer. And the moment you fix these issues, your computer starts giving you the results automatically and instantly. Is it not? But when it comes to human beings, the major problem that most leaders have is that they don't know how to fix or even understand human software. We don't even know why people behave the way they do. We'll go into a little bit of detail about that today. So why do people, that's a big question, right? Why does my team member behave in a certain way? Why do I behave in a certain way? A lot of times as leaders, you might notice that you yourself are not behaving the way you want to, right? So NLP is that software engineer. Neuro-linguistic programming is the study of the human software. It studies it studies how we think, it studies what our emotions, how we feel in a very, very detailed manner. And it's not only the study, it also provides us with the tools, techniques and strategies to be able to completely transform a person's programming. So you can actually use NLP to reprogram. It's like downloading new softwares or operating systems. Yes, and please type in your questions. I'm open to taking questions at any point in time. So as you're listening to me, if questions arise in your mind, please type it in the comment section, right? So I hope it's become a little clear. I know you might not be absolutely clear about what's NLP, but NLP is basically a mind reprogramming science. And just like your computer, you run an antivirus scan, you download new drivers, and you change the software programming in your computer, it's going to give you the results. Similarly, even human beings, you know, once a person is reprogrammed certain aspects, certain limiting beliefs or past memories or baggage or perceptions or expectations, once these things are reprogrammed, the person will automatically start functioning or giving you the results you want. If you are going to expect a person with their limitations to give you great results, it's delusional. It doesn't work like that, right? We are working with human resources. The human factor is very, very important. And neuro-linguistic programming has tremendous applications in that, not just at an individual level, but at an team and organizational level as well. And towards the end, I will tell you all what are the applications of NLP in different ways, right? Different sectors. Okay. So we'll do a quick experiment for you to understand how people can change easily, or for you to understand how you can perform better, or how you can get your team members to perform better. I know that I'm not able to see you right now, but I can see that a lot of people are online and many will watch this on a broadcast. So I am doing this exercise very quickly for you to realize how you need to grow or what you need to do to grow, okay? So if you're excited about it, please type in excited in the comment section. If you want to know where you stand in your life and how you can grow, okay? Please type in excited in the comment section, everybody, okay? So assuming that you're a part of this group, you're a part of the HR milestone group, I can say with a guarantee that you are somebody who believes in growing. There's no doubt about it, because if you did not believe in growing, you would not have been a part of this group, right? So if you believe in growing, I can also guarantee you that you have grown a certain amount in the last 5 years. Have you not? So if you look at yourself 5 years ago, you will realize that you have, I'm not talking about growing in size, I'm talking about growing as a person, right? You must have grown in your attitude, you might have grown in your skill level, you might have grown in the way you deal with people, your competencies, you might have grown in your career, in your designation, right? So in the last 5 years, you have grown as a person. Yes, please type in yes if you have grown as a person in the last 5 years. Now we are going to do a quick measurement to see how much you have grown. Okay, so wherever you're sitting right now, I want you to just get in touch with yourself. I can't see you, but I'm sure you're doing this with me. Okay, I want you to tell me using your hands, okay, where were you 5 years ago and where are you today? How much have you grown? Just with actions, you need to show where are you today, where were you, 5 years ago, and where are you today. Now when you see that, where were you 5 years ago and where are you today, you will see that you have grown as a person, and congratulations on that. Okay. Now I have another question. Okay. Where are you today and where do you think you should have been today? Where are you today and where do you think you should have been today? Every person has an expectation from themselves. As a leader, as a manager, as a professional, you will have certain expectations from yourself that, hey, by this age I need to reach this designation, or I need to be leading a team, or I need to be doing so and so, whatever you thought you should be doing. So where were you 5 years ago, where are you today, and where do you think you should have been today? Now if this is where you are today and this is where you think you should have been today, this is the gap. And trust me when I say this, and if you're honest with yourself, there is always a gap. There's always a gap. There's always a gap when it comes to you as an individual, how much you wanted to grow and how much you have grown. Or there's always a gap when it comes to your organization as well. You had certain organization's goals or team goals and you thought that you would be able to achieve so much, but there is a gap. There's nothing wrong in a gap being there. It just shows that we are healthy, we have high expectations and we are working towards it. But if you think about it, if you allow that gap to continue for long periods of time, if an organization has a gap between what they think they should have achieved to how much they have achieved, and that gap continues long term, if you allow it to continue, it's going to be detrimental for the organization. Similarly for individuals, if you think you should have grown a certain level and you have not reached that yet, or something has stopped you from reaching that level, it's okay to have that gap today, because you're human. There might have been resource constraints, or there might have been certain problems that stopped you from achieving your goals to where you wanted to go. But allowing that to continue is not a good idea. Do you agree with me? Please type in yes in the comment section if you agree that it's not a good idea. Because think about it, this is the gap today. If you allow it to continue, if you do not grow rapidly, if you do not bridge that gap with your employees or bridge that performance gap that is there within your organizations quickly within the next few months, then how much will that gap grow in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? Can you see what I'm saying right now? That it's the time to bridge that gap is always now. It's like when your computer stops functioning, it's giving you problems, you got to reprogram it, you got to fix it quickly. You do not wait for it to crash to fix it, isn't it? And that's the case with every person, their own goals, and even an organization as large at whole is an organism, right? An organization is an organism. It's like one entity. It has to grow together. It has to grow together. And who makes it grow? Every individual in an organization makes it grow. So if each individual has gaps, the whole organization at whole has a gap, right? So this is the reason why the human factor becomes so very, very important. There ideally should not be a gap. Ideally, a person or an organization must grow more than expectation. Wouldn't it be amazing? Imagine a situation, a scenario where you and your organization is growing more than you expect. It's giving results more than you expect instead of a gap. But there has to be a mindset shift for us to get to that place, right? And what is that mindset shift that we're looking for? That shift is that changes need to happen quickly for you to bridge the gap. It's very important. Your employees, you as a leader, your organization needs to have the ability to change quickly with the market changes, with far beyond your competition, which means that every person in your organization needs to be creative. Every person, at least most people, need to be creative, need to be resourceful, need to learn to stay in a peak state, need to be aligned to your organization's goals, need to be performing beyond your expectations. And if this can happen, then it becomes very easy to grow, isn't it? So the skill of making change easy and making change seamless is the key to bridging that gap that you might currently have within yourself as a person or within your organization. If you are finding value in what I'm speaking and it's kind of making you think, please type in I agree in the comment section. I can see so many people in here. Hi Rajiv, Manish, Vihang, Subrata, amazing. Let's communicate over the chat, everyone. Please type in any questions you have. Hi Jaydeep, good to have you all here. Okay, so we have discussed more or less what is NLP, and we have also discussed why it is important for a person or an organization to grow rapidly, to adapt to change quickly, right? And we have spoken about how this can happen. This can happen when you realize that human beings are just like computers. If you're going to have faulty software, bad habits, old programming, obsolete belief systems, then it's extremely difficult for an organization to grow. So the change needs to happen within the subconscious of the person and of the organization, right? So now that we've established that there is a gap, right, and I'm almost sure that each one of you who did this exercise in their mind realized that you have a gap in your life as well. Why that gap? Why has that gap even happened in the first place, right? Because nobody wants it actually. Who wants to have a gap? Who wants to say that, oh, I want to lag behind? Nobody wants that. But it happens automatically, is it not? And that is because most people, okay, know what they need to do to grow. Please type in agree. I agree if you agree with the statement that most people know what they need to do to grow, right? If you ask a person, if you ask your employee or you ask yourself that what do you need to do to grow as a person? What do you need to do to get better results? And say, oh, I need to get up in the morning. I need to stop eating junk food. I need to get on time and I need to be more creative. I need to be more energetic. I need to have more energy to work long hours. I need to be able to get along with people. I need to know how to influence others. So people know. It's not like people don't know. But what do most leaders do? Most leaders keep telling people what to do. ये कर, तू वो कर, do it this way, do it that way. You should take more action. You should be more proactive. You should be more creative. You should do so many different things, and it almost feels like it bounces off people's head. All the suggestions, all the advices, all the gyan that leaders give in meetings and in when you're speaking to people, you will almost feel like it's not even getting through to people sometimes, and you wonder. Why is it not getting through to people? Why am I not able to get these people to understand what I'm saying, right? This is a very, very helpless feeling that I have seen most leaders I have worked with go through. It's not like you're a bad leader. It's not like you don't have the skills or the experience. It's just that most leaders aren't trained, or they don't think from the perspective that people don't like to be told. If people had to change by just telling that ye karo, wo karo, they would have changed already, is it not? If there is a resistance to change, if there is a resistance and people are saying that hey, you're telling them what to do but they are not doing it, you're setting goals and you're communicating with your teams but they don't meet your KRAs, then you need to ask yourself, how can I do this differently? if what I am doing today isn't working, how can I do it differently? So let's quickly discuss, why do leaders feel helpless? What leads leaders to get into this helpless situation, right? The first reason why leaders feel helpless is because they don't understand why people are behaving the way they are behaving. Why is my team member putting up resistance? Or why is my team member not showing more excitement? I have done everything. I have given them resources, I've given them guidance, I've given them everything, and yet they just, there's no sense of ownership or low sense of ownership. There's no attention to detail. There are no new creative ideas popping up. Everybody is just working like Lakir ka Fakir, and the leader is frustrated, right? So the first reason why leaders get helpless and frustrated is the lack of understanding of human behavior. As a leader, it's very important that you learn to calibrate and read others and try to figure out the actual subconscious motives of people. What actually drives this employee of mine? Many a times, it's like if you're calling somebody home for lunch or dinner, right? You're not going to just cook anything and shove it down their throat. Do you do that? You actually check what kind of food do they like. Is it veg? Is it non-veg? What kind of inclination do they have? What kind of food do they enjoy? You try and understand the other person, and then you customize your meal for them. Similarly, as a leader or anybody, if we have one certain way of telling or speaking and we're doing it with everybody, and that's what most leaders do, you will face resistance because you're not getting through to that employee. That employee or that particular team might have a completely different programming problem than what you're thinking it is, and you are giving them something that sounds good, like incentives, or you're giving them rewards, or you're giving them things that probably is not the best solution. So the first reason why leaders feel helpless is they don't have deep-rooted understanding of human behavior. And like I said initially, neuro-linguistic programming actually helps you understand exactly in detail and helps you develop that skill as a leader of calibration. We call it advanced calibration, which means by just looking at somebody, just observing them, you can actually read what's happening in you. You can figure out what is stopping that person, right? So that's the first reason. The second is not being able to read the patterns, right? Everyone comes with the software. Now, if you're not a software engineer and you have a computer that's giving you problems, you will feel totally helpless. You'll say, I don't know why my computer is not giving me the results that I want, right? So, as a leader as well, you might be great in business. You might have a lot of experience in getting funding or driving, but you do not know what is this dynamics happening in your team. What are the patterns that's leading to lack of results? Then you will not be able to actually, if what you can't see, you can't change. So if you can't read human beings and their patterns and see what's exactly happening in your teams, you are going to be dependent on somebody else to come and fix your problems. So that's the second reason why leaders feel stuck. They are not able to, if you are dealing with people, you got to be a software engineer of people. Does that make sense? You got to be able to read them that way so that it becomes very easy. Once you can read them, you can influence them, right? The third is not knowing how to influence. Most leaders think that influencing means telling, convincing, so in some cases shouting, right? Ye karo, wo karo, what is this? Why is it not happening, right? But such tactics seldom work, and we know it, right? Fear and pushing people works to a certain extent, but the moment that person is not under your influence, they're going to stop doing what you ideally don't want to take that much effort as a leader. It's very difficult on the leader also to constantly push people like that. You need to if you can become the kind of person who can influence very easily, subconsciously, right? And I'm going to tell you very soon why you need to influence somebody subconsciously. Why can't you influence somebody consciously, okay? Once you learn how to subconsciously influence, there will be no resistance. People will stop putting up resistance. It's like when you are in absolute rapport with somebody. Have you ever had a rapport with someone where whatever you say, that person kind of takes it in very easily because they respect you a lot, or you have great rapport, or you're able to influence that person. There's no resistance. And there are sometimes other people, sometimes it's your spouse or your child or your team members. No matter how much you say, it just doesn't get through to that person, right? So you got to learn how to build that kind of a rapport with anybody so that you can influence them easily, so that the change can be very, very easy. And the last reason why most leaders suffer or feel helpless is the lack of results. If you can't understand people, you can't read their patterns, you're not able to influence them, then your results will never match the expectations. There will always be that gap. If you want to bridge that gap, then you got to learn to understand people, you got to learn to read their patterns, and once you read their patterns, you got to learn strategies with which conversationally you can very quickly build rapport and influence them, right? And that is exactly what NLP does. So like I told you all, it's not about how it's not that people don't know that they need to change, they just feel helpless. You might say that no, my one of my employees intentionally doing it. We'll keep such people who intentionally don't work aside. There are ways to work with those people as well, but most employees, if you look at an average employee base, people are working hard, they want to get results, but that gap happens automatically. And that brings us to, why should we help people change subconsciously? What is the importance of helping people change subconsciously? Let's look at, before we enter that, let's look at the comments here. Nitin says, matter of mindset. Very true. Yes, Nitin, it is a matter of not just mindset, it's a matter of mind programming. Mindset is still something that you can change, it's at a conscious level. But when it is at a programming level, right, it is not that easy. Let me give you a few examples. You might have heard of the conscious subconscious iceberg theory. Being in HR, I'm sure you've heard about it, right? That most of a person, what is visible to the eye, what the person showing of themselves or their behavior on the outside, is just the tip of the iceberg. Why are they that way? Is all subconscious. Their past, their experiences, their past failures, their past victories, the perceptions they formed in the past, their patterned ways of behaving. This is all at a subconscious level, right? And between the conscious and the subconscious, there is a barrier. Now, what is the role of the conscious mind? The conscious mind helps us take decisions at a conscious level. It actually analyzes things in a logical way, and it tries to protect us. The conscious mind's, one of the key roles of the conscious mind is to try and protect us and get things done quickly, right? So what the conscious mind basically does is it has to actually put in more effort to get things done. For example, let us take an ant colony, right? Now it's summertime and we see ants, right, come popping up from everywhere. They're so busy getting work done before the winter, right? That's an organization, an ant organization, which wants to get certain results by the time winter starts. And you will realize that actually ants don't have much up there, right? They are not very intelligent creatures. A single ant doesn't actually know anything. But as an organism, as an organization, all the ants together have this subconscious knowledge. They are subconsciously tuned and patterned to do certain things so that by the time winter starts, they have enough food in storage and they have gotten their results. So even though individual ants may not be that competent, as an organization they do. And wouldn't we want the same for ourselves as well? That you don't need to consciously bark orders at people and consciously tell people and consciously change people and manage everything consciously. Conscious thinking is very tiresome, extremely tiresome, because everything you have to think, everything you have to decide, every action you have to tell people what exactly to do. It becomes so difficult when you have to consciously bring about all these changes and manage so many aspects of business. But let's assume it starts happening subconsciously. Subconsciously, the people in your organization start becoming more creative, start becoming more responsible, start getting a sense of ownership, feel excited about your organization's goals and values on their own, right? And like that ant colony, everybody starts working towards your final outcome and you get a result more easily. right? So working at a conscious level is a very tiresome process. If you can start working at a subconscious level, also most of the things holding people back are at a subconscious level. Laziness, procrastination, fear of taking action, right? You may have a lot of people who are potential employees, right? You might have them in a talent pool, or you say that, okay, this person is good, can take on future leadership roles. But sometimes such people can frustrate you because you have such high expectations of them and they are just not able to meet up to your expectations. They have so much resistance to change, or they are not able to have the confidence or the skills that you're expecting them to have. What if you make changes in them at a subconscious level, right? So conscious mind puts up a lot of resistance. Between the conscious and the subconscious, there is a layer known as critical thinking, or you can also call it logical thinking, right? And logical thinking is very limited thinking. You know what the logical thinking does, critical faculty does? It stops anything from entering your subconscious mind, because subconscious mind is a delicate area. It doesn't allow anything to enter very easily. Like, let us say as a leader, you tell somebody that, you know what, you can do it. You can take this action. We can reach these goals. It's possible for us. And you said it, and it goes to the person's conscious mind. And you know what the conscious mind does? It asks questions. So the conscious mind of your employee is going to say, hey, this sounds too big. ये तो कुछ भी है, ये नहीं कर पाएंगे. This is not possible. How much do I have to work to get these results? They keep expecting more. So while you are telling people what to do and how to do, their conscious mind is resisting new ideas, resisting anything new. People don't like change. Even if that change is meant for the betterment of your organization, people don't like change, because change comes with a lot of discomfort. Okay, do a quick exercise with me. I can see many people online. Again, please type in your name, the location from which you're joining, so that I know who is here. Hi Vinay, hello everybody. Please type in your name and your location from which you are joining, so that we can make this a little more interactive, everyone. Okay, so let us now discuss why is it so difficult for people to change? Why is change so uncomfortable? So the exercise I was talking about, I cannot see you, but you can do this with me, okay? So I want you to do this, okay? You can see what I'm doing. You're just clasping your hands, right? And now do this. Watch it. Please watch first. I want you to unclasp your hands. So first notice which thumb is on top, okay? So you held this way. In my case, my right thumb is on top. So you can check, is your right or your left thumb on top, okay? Now unclasp your hand and clasp in such a way that the other thumb should come on top, okay? Look at this. And now tell me how it feels, okay? Or you can even tell yourself. This new position, so you always clasped your hand like this, and now you unclasp and clasp in a way that the other thumb comes on top. You notice that this new position of holding hands feels very uncomfortable. It almost feels like there is a finger missing over here. Yeah, I can see people typing in. Hi Vinay, Vinay from Ahmedabad, Mehul from Bharuch, Kishore. Welcome everybody. I hope you're enjoying the session. So do you see this? This new way of holding hands feels so uncomfortable, right? It feels like something's missing. And what is the most easy thing to do right now? What do you feel like doing? You feel like going back. You feel like doing things the way you always did them, right? So people don't like change. We are automated machines. We have automated patterns. We do the same things every day. We get into these automated habits and loops, and old habits, old ways of thinking feel comfortable. Even if it is not good for us, they feel comfortable. So every one of your employees is comfortable in doing things a certain way, even if it is not the best way, right? So if you're expecting them to change just like that, it doesn't happen, because resistance to change is natural, because there's this critical faculty. People are like, they will resist change. If you come up with some great idea, they'll say, no, that's not going to work. How is that going to work? And they don't feel excited about your new idea. So what is the solution? The solution here, listen to this everybody, and if you're excited to what is the solution to removing this resistance that your employees or your family members or anybody or your vendors or your clients putting up resistance to change, what is the solution to this? Type in excited if you're excited about listening to the solution. The solution here is to bypass critical thinking. Bypass that critical thinking. If you can learn to speak directly to another person's subconscious mind, imagine the wonders that you could do as a leader. You could get people excited about things. You could get them to value, believe in your values as an organization. And let us say for you as a leader, you value integrity, or you value growth, or you value rapid growth, or you value serving customers, and your employees are not matching up to that. They're not serving the way you want to serve, or there are things that are happening that you don't like within your organization, and you've been communicating, but it's not working. You gotta find ways to now create that shift in your employees' attitudes, their thinking, their patterns at that person's subconscious level. Because at a subconscious level, when they change, there is no resistance. They will do it automatically, right? Now, let us say today, I feel excited about working, then you don't need to tell me to work. I will work anyways. If I feel excited about my organization's goals, I don't have to be told 20 times what to do. I will just get up in the morning, I'll be excited to get myself to work and excited to take action, right? Nitin says, thanks for explaining in a very nice manner the example of ant colony. Thank you so much, Nitin. Thank you so much. Please everybody type in questions. I haven't got any questions yet. If you type in questions, I'll be able to answer those as well. So the answer is, as a leader for you, is to learn how to bypass critical thinking and directly make changes in your employee's subconscious mind. It can be when you're working one-on-one as well, and it can be at an team or an organization level as well. There are several things that you can do as part of an HR team, or you can do as a leader, that will help change become more seamless within your organization. But let us go a little more into, before we go to how to do that, let's go a little more into detail of why and how critical thinking stops people. Okay, why do people behave the way they behave in the first place? So I spoke about one of the reasons why leaders feel helpless, and the reason was they don't understand what's happening in another person's mind. So let's go into a little bit of detail, because I want this session to also be a little educational so that you can take away some things from here. Okay, so imagine that a person is going about their daily life. Okay, you're just going about your daily life. You are in your office and you're sitting and you're doing your work, and then a new vendor or somebody new walks in. Okay, and you look at that person. You say hello and you look at that person. Has it ever happened to you that you saw somebody and instantly you disliked them? Has that happened to you? It's happened to me, and I'm sure it happens to everybody, that there's something about that person, something in their vibe, something you catch that you don't like, right? And you're like, instantly take a back seat, right? Kishore is saying, how do you avoid critical thinking? Kishore, when you want to avoid critical thinking within yourself, it happens by actually understanding your own patterns. When you understand your perceptions, and NLP has an application in understanding your own perceptions as well, right? So I was talking about, sometimes you look at somebody and you'll instantly dislike them. On the other hand, there are times when you look at somebody and you instantly like that person. That person done nothing. They have not done anything exceptionally good for you, but there is instant rapport and bonding with that person. And you're wondering, I just like this person, I don't know why. And I'll tell you how this happens. How is it that sometimes you like somebody, sometimes you dislike? That is because people don't take decisions consciously. Most decisions or feelings or actions come out of a person's subconscious mind. That is the reason why you have to go directly make changes in somebody's subconscious mind, right? So there is something about this person that you consciously can't put a finger on, but subconsciously you don't like. Like, maybe the way they're dressed, maybe there's a certain vibe, or the way they're carrying their face. Maybe this person reminds you subconsciously of somebody who you knew in the past that you did not like. Maybe just their posture or the way they're sitting. You can't make out consciously what's wrong and why you don't like that person, but your subconscious mind has caught information. So most people behave in whatever way they behave not because they want to behave that way, but because there are several factors that are involved to why they are reacting. The difference between reaction and response: reaction is when it is happening subconsciously and you don't have any choice in it. Response is when you've got some choice within it, right? So when something happens, when you see somebody, there's so much information that you can possibly take in, and it goes in through your senses. You all know what are senses, right? I'm trying to explain a little bit technically here why people behave the way they behave. Goes in through their senses. So you either see how the person's dressed, or you hear the way they speak. So it's the auditory, or there's a feeling that person gives you, right? So through your senses, you take in information. Now, for a lot of people, their senses are not very sharp. They're not very observant. They don't listen well. As a leader, you would have faced this a lot when you're talking to somebody and you feel like it's not getting in. It's not getting into their head, and you're wondering what is happening. Even when I'm speaking, why isn't it getting in? That's because in many people's case, their senses are not very sharp. So information is not even going in. There is half information going in. Even when something goes in our mind, there are these patterns of filters. You can also call them funnels, right? And these funnels work like sieves. What is a sieve? It's like in Hindi, it's called channi, right? It's a sieve. Now imagine somebody's got a sieve, and that sieve has got very small holes, right? And you're trying to put stones in it. It's not going to go through, it will just bounce, okay? I'll give you an example. If let us say there is a filter in a person's mind that I can't trust my boss, or I can't trust these people. No matter what you say, that person is not going to take it in, because there is a filter that's bouncing it back, that's not taking in information. They are going to take wrong meaning to whatever you say because there is a filter. So each person has thousands of filters in their mind's eye. And I can see some questions, I'll come to that very quickly. Okay? So there are filters in our mind that stop us from even taking in information. So if you want to technically speak, let us say there are 2 million bits of information hitting a person at any point in time. Consciously, that person's actually taking in through their senses only about 38,000 bits of information. That's it. We don't even take in. And once we take in, it goes through all these filters and perceptions and beliefs and fears. And then we make a meaning out of it. That this is what is happening. So you're telling your employees that, hey, listen, you will get rewarded, you will get so and so if you grow, you got to take action. But what that person is hearing is, these people just want us to work harder. No matter how much I do, it is not enough. Should I look for another job? That's what is happening in their mind, because they've got so much programming and they react in ways that you don't want them to react. So the change needs to happen in two places. One, it needs to happen in your own communication. As a leader, if you can learn to speak subconsciously to that other person's mind rather than consciously telling, that's the first, because it will directly bypass all these filters and go to that person's subconscious mind and make changes. Second change that needs to happen is in that person's patterns. If you can help your employees overcome their patterns through different interventions, right? Overcome their fears or their beliefs or their habits through different interventions, then it's like a software engineer changing the programming of your computer. Once the programming is changed, there is no resistance whatsoever. If you're finding all this exciting and new and curious, please type in exciting. I am excited in the comment section. Let's go to some of the questions. Manish asks, what influence strategies, apart from telling, does NLP suggest for reprogramming the past mindset of the team? Okay. In NLP, Manish, we have, there are several language patterns. They are known as language patterns, or a technical term, it's called as the Milton model. There was a hypnotherapist known as Milton Erickson, right? He's no more, and he was also known as the father of hypnotherapy. And he devised some very, very creative subconscious language patterns which bypass the critical thinking of a person's mind and go straight to the subconscious mind. So it works on the concept of understanding human nature, okay, and why people put up resistance, and using these language patterns to stop that barrier. Let me give you one small example over here, though I'll go a little bit into detail a little later here, okay. So there is let us say a person doesn't like to be told, okay, and I use a language pattern known as mind read. There's a language pattern. There are many different language patterns that you learn in NLP, but one of them is known as mind read. Now let us say I use that mind read and I say, hey, I know that you're thinking that you keep telling me this all the time. Now, as a boss and as a subordinate, that person is not expecting you to actually admit that you have been telling again and again. The moment you admit and say that, hey, listen, I know you're going through this, I know that so and so is happening, by using mind read, that person's resistance instantly goes down. If that is the reason why they're resisting, and they'll say, okay, the boss seems to know what I'm going through. There's another language pattern that is used in the form of a confusing question. So most of these language patterns are confusing language, using language in a way that it can speak directly to the other person's subconscious mind, right? So let us say you use a language pattern known as a double bind, right? A double bind is used in sales situations, and I'm sure you've heard of this, right? But I'll tell you a little interesting way of using it. In sales situations, they use double bind by trying to close a sale, right? So let us say a person says, oh, when would you like to sign the deal? Would you like to sign it today or would you like to sign the deal tomorrow? So basically you're forcing them to sign the deal irrespective of whether they pick today or they pick tomorrow, right? But that's a simple way of using a double bind. In NLP, we use double bind in a slightly more complex way when you pose people choices in which one of the choices is very good and one of the choices is very bad. So let us say you are speaking to an employee who is, has a lot of past reprogramming and maybe fear of failure because of the past. And you use a certain question and you ask that person and you say, hey, listen, do you really want to grow and thrive and see some results for yourself and grow within this organization maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, or do you want to go back and relive the same nightmare again and again? Now when you pose a question like this where one is a very bad option and one is a very good option, that person's subconscious mind will instantly choose the good option. Nobody is going to choose the bad option. So rather than using double bind in the conventional way, so this is just one language pattern, Manish. There are several language patterns in NLP that we train leaders on, which will help you change people's minds very quickly by imbibing these in your language. I hope somewhere I have answered your question here. Okay. Chirag says we cannot judge a book by the cover. True, Chirag, there is so much more to a person. Sometimes you will label people, this person's lazy, this person procrastinates, isse to nahi hoga. We label people. But as leaders, the moment you label people, you've lost that person. Now you just have to wait for them to quit or lay them off. But if you could really understand people's patterns and learn how to influence them, you'll realize that most employees can give you great performance if you just learn how to do that, right? Hi Trupti, good to see you all here. Okay, so we were talking about the gap. Let's go back to the gap. Now you know that there is a gap. So what is this gap? Why is there a gap between where your organization is today to where you wanted your organization to be there today? Now if you are very honest with yourself as a leader, your answer will be the gap is because there's something that I couldn't do with my employees or with myself to get results. It is rarely the lack of resources or lack of money that led to your gap. If your organization or your team is not growing how much you should have grown by now, it's not something that's happening on the outside. Because you think about it, you think about COVID, many organizations actually grew multifold during COVID, whereas some terribly suffered. And I'm not blaming people or leaders here. Sometimes things were very difficult. But if you see, how is it that some organizations grew so much during COVID? That is because that person that leader knew how to make the best use of the situation and how to drive people. So lack of resources is rarely the reason why an organization doesn't grow. It is either your ability as a leader or the quality of your manpower that is leading to whether you're growing or you're not growing. If you and your employees are creative, resourceful, very quick to change, very quick to come up with ideas and take actions on those ideas, are able to stay in peak state and take action towards your goals, then you can actually grow multifold with your current resources. And please type in yes in the comment section if you agree with me, because it's very important for leaders to be in alignment with this. As a leader, it's very important for you to admit to the fact that it's not lack of resources, because till you continue blaming lack of resources, you are helpless. You cannot grow as you want to. But the moment you admit and say, hey, listen, let me admit to myself, it's not my lack of resources, it's me, it's my ability to influence, it's my ability to make a difference, it's my workforce, and I need to train them to become resourceful, creative, quick to change. The moment you do that, you are opening a lot of doors for yourself, isn't it? So please type in yes in the comment section if you're agreeing with me. So the gap is not there. The gap is here. It's in yourself and it's in every one of your employees. The gap lies in different levels. Today, if you want to start taking more action, being more productive, and start seeing some amazing changes in your business and in your organization, then the change needs to happen over here, right? As a leader for yourself as well. So what are those different layers of change? Thinking. So in neuro-linguistic programming, it allows us to bring about a transformation in people at several levels. So first level is thinking. How do you think? How do you form perceptions? What perceptions do you form of your world? What are the beliefs that you have about yourself, about business, about money, about startups, about the economy, about how fast you can grow? So the first level is thinking. If you can transform your past programming about how you think and your belief system, that's a very, very amazing quick start for you. Second is at an emotional level. If you continue thinking a certain way, it's going to make you feel a certain way. And emotions are the drivers of action. A lot of times leaders keep emotions aside. They say, "Arey, ye emotional stuff nahi chahiye." But what you don't realize is emotions drive people. Emotions like confidence, emotions like proactivity, creativity, emotions like feeling rapport, love for your organization, buy into your organization. These are all emotions. If you want your employees to work the way you want them to work, they need to stay in peak state and they need to feel some really strong, powerful emotions. So the second level on which so first level you can work to grow your organization at the thinking level, right? Second level you can work is at the emotional level. How do I boost morale? At a subconscious level, how do I get my employees excited? How do I get them in alignment? How do I help them work through their difficult emotions like fears from the past, fear of the future, right? The third level that you need to work on is the behavior level. Behaviors like procrastination, coming late, behaviors like gossiping, behaviors like keeping quiet and not taking action when you should be coming up with ideas. There are so many behaviors you see in the workplace that must irritate you as a leader, but you gotta, so if you work at the thinking and emotion level, usually behaviors change. If you think and feel a different way, your actions are also going to change. The next level that you can work on for your organization is the habit level. As a leader, what habits do you have? What rituals do you, and trust me when I say this, these are all programmed. That is the reason they are called habits, isn't it? If somebody has a habit of overeating, or somebody has a habit of procrastination, or they have a habit of negative thinking, or criticizing others, then it's not easy to break at a conscious level. Have you ever done that? Have you ever told yourself, I will not get so angry. From tomorrow, I will not get angry. I will not shout at people. I will be more peaceful and calm. And then you go back and do exactly the same. You tell yourself, these are bad habits. I will not do it. I will not eat so much, or I will not, do so much social media. Social media addiction has become a big thing for most organizations. Employees spending lots of their times on the phone, lot of the time on the phone, rather than working, rather than being productive, right? So how can you help people at an action level, at a habit level, and finally at an identity level? As an organism, as an organization, what is the identity that you have created? So this is done at a larger level. It is done at a larger organizational intervention level where you actually identify values for your organization. And I know many organizations have values, but they are only on those boards, right? You have organizational values put up in places and people are doing what they want to do, but The values are just up there. The values are not meant to be only on posters. The values are meant to be lived every single day by every employee. So how can you bring about a change and have every employee believe in those values? So basically the bottom line here is that you got to start making changes at a subconscious level within your organization. Does that make sense? If you're kind of agreeing with what I'm saying, then please type in yes in the comment section. And if you have more questions, please type it out, because I really want this to be interactive. I want to be able to give you out as many answers as I possibly can, right? So now the question, you might be thinking, at this point that, okay, now I understand, Seema, what I need to do. I need to help people change at a subconscious level, at a thinking, emotion, behavior, habit and identity level. I need people to be as excited about our goals as I am as a leader. Okay, so how to do it? How to do that, right? It is not as easy as I'm making it sound. It will take a bit of work, right? So how do you do it? For this, let's understand the skills that you will need to develop as a leader. There are certain skill sets that you need to do. Like I said, if you want to reprogram a computer, you got to know how to reprogram a computer. You need the skills to do that. Just knowing what you need to do is not going to help. So what are those skills? So there are some core skills that you will have to work on and develop as a leader. One of the core skills is going to be calibration or reading others. As a leader, I'm sure you understand the importance of analytics, right? You know how important analyzing situations is, how important it is to gather data and figure out what is actually happening within your organization with people. Of course, gathering data, I'm sure you know, through forms or questionnaires, you can gather data. But to be able to really read people, calibrate people, especially your key employees, your talent pool members or your department heads or the people who are making an actual difference in your organization's goals, you got to learn to calibrate. What is calibration? Calibration is your ability to just look and read others. As a leader, having sharp senses and figuring out and being very quick about reading situations is a skill that you will need to develop. Another skill that you will need to develop is to be able to speak to people subconsciously. So how do I communicate? So I'm not talking about simple communication skills here. I'm not talking about just spoken English that everybody can do. But I'm speaking about deep-rooted communication. Have you ever come across leaders that when they talk, people listen? And there are leaders then who just keep on talking and nobody's listening to them. What is the difference? It is that this one leader has learned how to speak, how to structure their communication, and they understand subconscious communication. So we call them conversational skills or conversational subconscious influence skills. So you got to learn as a leader. The second skill is going to be subconscious influence. There are several things you can do with your communication, the way you speak, with which you can directly bypass other people's conscious mind and start speaking directly to their subconscious mind so that there is no resistance. You're directly going to the programming level of the other person and making changes over there. I've got a question over here. Nitin says, if you can share something on how we can convert controversial situations into fruitful desired results. Very interesting question. When you say controversial situations, I am assuming here that you're talking about conflicts. Okay, you're talking about you have certain goals, you want to do certain things, but people have totally different agendas, right, of their own. So there are several interventions. Like I said, NLP can be used at individual one-on-one levels, but they also can be used at a team level, right? So if there is a team and then there is this controversial, thank you Nitin for confirming that I got your question right. So if you're working with the team and there is a lot of dynamics within that team that you are not able to fix, but also remember that sometimes as a leader you can't do everything as well. You will have to take external help, whether it's in the form of a training program or it's in the form of a certain intervention. You got to sometimes take help, because as a leader you telling people is not working very clearly, right? So you can develop influence skills and you can try doing it, but if it's very bad and you have things like team members not aligning, not getting along together, there's some really crazy dynamic happening over there which you're not able to figure out why it is happening. Also, it is wasting a lot of your time and your energy, and it's spoiling the morale of your team. Then you need to take some quick action. You got to do some intervention which helps the team align and helps them talk to each other. I don't know if you've heard of the Johari window. So you can take help of any intervention that's based on the Johari window concept, and maybe combine it with a training that's linked with NLP, an NLP based training with the Johari window. We put an intervention like that so that the team members can get open with each other, their motives can come out, right? And they can align to the organization's goals. If it is a very, very deep-rooted problem within your team, then you might not be able to do it all on your own. So that's another thing. I'm so glad for this question. It's important that sometimes you take external help to be able to fix something, because like I said, if a gap continues, so you have a conflict within your team, you have a certain team member or members who are not in alignment, but they're important members, they're contributing to your organization, you cannot let them go, you do not want to let them go, whatever the reason, then you cannot allow that conflict to continue, right? I always tell people that gravity is natural. Gravity is a natural law. Why? What does that mean? It means that if there is a problem, right, and you do not fix that problem, it's not going to go away on its own. It's only going to get worse because gravity is natural. So when as a leader you see small changes, you see a slight drop in morale, or you see that there is a certain dynamics that's building in a certain team that is not in alignment, right? You got to get in there quickly and take action. You got to, if you can do it yourself, or you have internal teams to work on people who are trained in subconscious work, or you can take an external party which will come in and which will do a customized intervention with that team and fix it quickly, because if you don't, gravity is natural. It's just going to go from bad to worse. I hope somewhere I have answered your question over here, Nitin. There's no simple answer to your question. It's not. I can't give you a this equals this kind of an answer, because the question itself has so much dynamics in it, right? One needs to figure out what's happening in the team, what's the controversy, who's contributing to what, and what exactly the intervention needs to be. But whatever it is, it needs to be at a subconscious level. It can't be directly telling them not to do it. That's not going to work. Okay, awesome. So let us quickly move on to applications of NLP in leadership, which is the topic for today. So as a leader, what are the different ways in which you can apply NLP? First of all, please learn more about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Let me tell you this, its application in leadership, in organizational work is massive. I was, before we founded Indian School of Success, my spouse Vimal and I was working as head of training and OD for a large training team of 20 plus trainers for a large organization of 6,000 employees. And I have rolled out NLP organization wide, and I've seen the impact that it can have on leaders, on organizations, right? And today we help organizations in customizing training programs, customizing different interventions so that they can get better results in their area. But what are the different ways in which one can do that, right? NLP has great application in selling and negotiating. So because of its subconscious influence techniques and strategies, teams which are more customer interfacing or selling or marketing, they can have great application. They can use NLP to enhance their marketing or their sales or their reach, because if you could subconsciously influence your customers, your clients, imagine, they would want to buy from you, and there is no critical thinking, there is no resistance to your. So sales and marketing, there's a large application of NLP, right? Second is in employee morale, state management, motivation, right? Because motivation is an emotion. It is not it's not just a talk. It's about how people actually feel, and it's also a skill. To be able to stay in peak state is a skill. It is not. It's not something that somebody can just do. People need to be taught. If you want your employees to stay in a peak state, most of the time stay on a 8 out of 10 kind of a scale where they're always excited and they're always working, then they need to be trained how to do that. So NLP also has a large application in state management. Also teamwork and cohesiveness, like I was just answering Nitin's question. In teamwork and cohesiveness, NLP has a large application, because when a team subconsciously bonds, understands each other, starts respecting each other, when team members gain these skills, learn to create together, learn to ideate together, learn to be resourceful together, do situational leadership, when these skills are subconsciously imbibed within teams, then it becomes very easy for the leader to get results through those teams, right? So NLP has application in team building and cohesiveness as well. Also in creativity and problem solving. So most problems are problems of the mind. It's the way we are thinking about something, right? So how can you get your teams to start looking at, because problems are always going to be there. There is never a business which is going to run without problems, right? So your problems are going to be there within your employees, problems are going to be there in the market, challenges are going to come. So how do you train your employees subconsciously to deal with these problems quickly without any resistance to change and get motivated to take action? So there is a large application of NLP in creativity and problem solving as well. So NLP can be used by you learning as a leader yourself. Okay, so let us say you say I want to learn NLP individually for myself. You can do that too. And by the way, I have a YouTube channel. So because today we have limited time and I can't really go more into details about what's NLP, but I'm sure you've gotten very curious about it now, and you are thinking that, okay, what is this science? How can I use as a leader, as an HR leader? I have a YouTube channel in my name, Seema Shenoy Manek, and probably in the comments I'll leave a link of that later on. So ensure that you are going to my YouTube channel, Seema Shenoy Manek, also sometime when you have time, because I have got more than 100 videos over there on neuro-linguistic programming. So you get a little better idea of what's NLP, how its techniques sound like, how can you use them, so you can start watching those, right? Also, NLP can be used at an organizational level. So as a leader you can learn it, and also you can see how can I design certain interventions. Like I have designed interventions for organizations for values alignment. You know, they identifying the values and how to actually get employees, certain programs and interventions that you do that subconsciously employees get aligned to your values. Or we have designed NLP and theatre workshops where there is great cohesiveness at a subconscious level that's created, and employees, there's better buy-in, there's more excitement, there's more morale within your employees. Or we have trained people for sales and marketing, you know, teams where how do you design your content using NLP so that you can get subconsciously influence your clients. So the application is extremely massive, right? So I think I have been able to cover everything that we discussed today. Why do people put up resistance? Why do they behave the way they behave? And how, as a leader, can you go from that helpless situation where you don't know what to do, to a place where you can proactively learn how to subconsciously influence people and take action at an organization level as well. So I think more or less we're towards the end, so I'm open to taking any questions from anybody. If you all have any questions, please type in the comment section. Or type in what was your top learning from this talk today. I'm really excited to know what was your top learning from today's talk. What was that one thing that hit you and you have learned from here? Come on everybody, type in the comment section. We have a couple of minutes more. I want to ensure that you have time and express yourself as well. Have I been able to take everybody's questions that have been typed? I would like to quickly thank all the people who have actively participated during this talk. There is Nitin, there is Mehul, Manish, Jayesh, Kishore. Tripti had a question which I have missed. How to listen to the voice of your subconscious mind? There's a process in NLP, Trupti, called as metacognition. Okay, metacognition is the process with which you become aware of your mental strategies, right? People behave in a certain way because they have certain mental strategies. They're doing something. They're doing some formula in their mind's eye. Has it ever happened to you that somebody is overreacting to a situation, or you have overreacted? Someone said something and you got really angry, or you got really frustrated, and later on you regretted your behavior. You said, why did I get so angry? Why did I behave this way, right? So this is because there's something happening in the mind's eye. So for you to be able to become more aware, you got to practice something known as metacognition, which in NLP we call it thinking about thinking. I have videos in my YouTube channel on every one of these processes, so I would suggest that you can actually go ahead and watch more videos. And I'd like to end now, okay? So we've taken, today we have discussed what's NLP, how we are like the computer. We have discussed what are the different frustrations that leaders go through and why. We have understood the difference between the conscious subconscious mind and how critical thinking stops people from changing, why there is resistance to change. We have also discussed application of NLP in change work and what are the different skills that leaders can develop to be able to become more effective. Awesome. All right, everybody. So thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Harish, for this opportunity to speak to this amazing group of people. Please get in touch with us through our YouTube channel or through Mr. Harish, and I'm going to see you all very soon in another talk. Thank you very much, and bye-bye, everybody.